Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I'm the owner and founder of Lady Faultai. You're either watching this video on my Facebook group or my YouTube channel, which are both called Lady Faultai's Light Healing. And today we're going to talk about the Earth Star Chakra. And I got a lot to go over, and I'm going to try to get it all in an hour. And so I'm going to try not to get too sidetracked today, because I tend to do that sometimes. But before we get started, I do just really want to smudge real quick. Hope everybody's having a good week. I stayed home yesterday. I didn't feel very good, but I'm feeling much better today. So sometimes just a little self-care, a little rest is what we need. So a little smudge for you, a little for me. Alright, so let's jump right in here because we got a lot to go over. So the Earth Star Chakra, there's going to be a lot of people that probably are not quite so familiar with that. It's not one of the typical 7 that usually gets talked about, but this year I'm going to be going over all 9 chakras, each month. And so I really did want to kind of talk about the ones that don't get talked about too much. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start right at the Earth Chakra, and every month we'll build right up until we get up to the all 9 of them. And we'll start at the bottom, go to the top. And I don't want to jump around. And so today we are talking about the Earth Star Chakra. So a lot of you will be familiar with that, and a lot of you will not be familiar with that, and that is okay, because like I said, that's not one of the ones that typically gets talked about. So the Earth Star Chakra, everyone's going to say, well, where is that? I don't know where that is on my body. Well, it's because it's not actually on your body. It's actually about 12 inches below your feet. So, and that's typically in a standing position, but it is, so it's below. So if, I don't know, don't get real technical. I don't know why my computer looks like it's all like doing weird funky things around me. I don't know what's going on there. Last Monday they said the sound was bad, but I hope that's better for you this time. But I don't know what's going on my screen. It looks a little wonky. I don't know. It looks like I'm in a comic book thing or something. Somebody's turning the pages. So Earth Star Chakra is about 12 inches below your feet. Like I said, that's typically, in a standing position. I don't know if you're doing a headstand. I don't really know if it's still below your feet or above your feet. I don't really know it. And so typically, like I said, most of us are used to a chakra being aligned with a part of our body, and we can kind of, use that as a graph of where pain is or what chakra stones we need to use and things like that. So when we're talking about the Earth Star Chakra, it's a little bit different for most people because it's not actually on your body. It is, like I said, it's about 12 inches below your feet in a standing position. So, and what is your Earth Star Chakra? Your Earth Star Chakra is what connects you to Mother Earth. It's what connects you to Gaia, Pachumama, whatever name you choose to call her by. It's perfectly fine. It's all the same thing. It's what connects you to the bone people, which the bone people is basically your ancestors. It's those that have been buried. So when they say the bone people, they don't mean actual skeletons walking around or anything like that. So the bone people is your ancestors that have been buried before you. It connects you to the gems and minerals in the earth, and it's also known to connect you to the Fey world. So I have some fairy people out there as well, I know, that like to watch. So it is what keeps you connected to the Fey world. It's also how you would do a lot of your grounding work, a lot of your stabilizing work, and a lot of your releasing would be going through your Earth Star Chakra. I don't know if you guys remember, it was an old video. I did it, gosh, at least a year ago probably. I don't know, maybe even longer, of a visualization of releasing negative energy. And so if you haven't seen that one, you can certainly go back and watch that video. But I am going to kind of go over it a little bit today, but like in a quicker version, just because, like I said, I have quite a bit I want to go over, and I want to make sure I get it all in there. So it's also where you are going to be able to re-energize. And again, that is in that video that I talked about, but I am going to go over it a little bit today. So, so Earth Star Chakra is a ball of light that is roughly about 12 inches below your feet. So it's underground. Okay? A little iced tea this morning. I wanted hot tea, but I didn't have time to make it. I was already running late getting here. Real world issues. I couldn't find my other sock. So yeah, so the releasing and releasing, grounding, stabilizing, re-energizing, and connecting with Gaia, Mother Earth, can all be done in the same basic visualization. You're just going to change up your intention or change the visualization a little bit at the end, depending on exactly what it is you want to be doing. So the one that I had done back was, I was talking about releasing negative energy, but at the same time re-energizing. So in that visualization, I made it both in one. So you can do that as well. Like I said, there's really no like wrong or right way to do a lot of these things. I'm just here to kind of give you the guides of how you could maybe get started and how you could make it your own and things like that. But so gonna just go over that little visualization, and then I'm gonna go over some things you can do if you want to work with your Earth Star Chakra, because we know it's how we connect with Mother Earth, it's how we connect with the bone people, our ancestors, it's how we connect with the gems and the minerals, and it's how we connect with the Fae. So, but it's really, really good if you need some grounding, if you need to release something, or if you need to do some re-energizing. And that was me. I really need to do some re-energizing lately. I'm the typical person that, like, I don't know, I shouldn't say typical. I'm the person that over the holidays, we had Thanksgiving and Christmas and holiday parties and all that stuff, and I'm the planner, the organizer, and not because anybody made me, that's just who I am. I'm the one that plans and organizes and gets everything together and worries about all the little details and stuff. And then now that's all done, and I think my body's just like, okay, you just need to stop for a little bit. So I need to take some time for some self-care. Advice from a friend of mine that I need to take some time for some self-care. All right. So this little visualization, it's really easy. It only takes a few minutes. You can do it anywhere. There's no wrong or right place. You can do it in your living room. You can do it in your shower. You can wherever you want. If you can do it outside and actually be standing on the earth, even better would be to be standing out there barefoot. Would be perfect situation for that. But if it's like me here, it is 7 degrees outside. I'm not standing outside barefoot today. You couldn't pay me to stand outside barefoot today. But in the summertime, you will see me barefoot most of the time. So, because I am naturally grounding all the time by walking barefoot on the ground. I posted again quite a while ago. I posted an article in the group. I'll see if I can find it and maybe bump it back up to the top. But it was an article about people who walk barefoot are typically less sick, typically have less pain. Just the whole, they don't age quite as rapidly, things of that sort. And it's just all because of walking barefoot on the ground. So I'll see if I can find that article and bump it up to the top. If not, I'll just see if I can find it on a website somewhere and repost it. But it's interesting to read about being barefoot. So if you can be barefoot and you can be outside, that is the best way to do it. But again, you don't need to. It's not if you're not outside and you're not barefoot, it's not like it's not going to work. That's not really how it works. So, all right. So you are going to want to close your eyes, and you're going to want to bring your attention to your feet. Now that sounds really simple, but my suggestion is to kind of, with your eyes closed, kind of move your feet around, flex them, wiggle your toes, stretch your toes out. If you are outside, maybe kind of dig your toes into the ground, to the dirt a little bit. But just kind of really move your feet around, stretch them out, relax them, and really just bring your attention, to your feet. And again, this is all with your eyes closed. I can't do it with my eyes closed right now because I can't read if I have my eyes closed. But yeah, just kind of wiggle your toes around, stretch them out, flex your feet, all that good stuff. And then once you've done that for, just a few seconds, you don't have to do it a long time, but, 10 or 15 seconds of just paying attention to your feet and stretching them out. Imagine yourself walking through a forest. It can be any kind of forest. And if you don't want it to be a forest, it can be a jungle. If you don't want it to be a jungle, it can be a desert. It can be a beach if you want. But typically I visualize a forest. That's where I feel most connected to Mother Earth, is in the woods. But if that's, if it's different for you, that's okay. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way. If you want to be visualizing yourself on the beach with your feet in the sand, that's perfectly fine as well. Once you're visualizing your location, wherever you're going to be, so I'm going to stick with the forest for this, take again, it doesn't have to be real long, 30, 40 seconds of picturing your surroundings, and go a step beyond that of picturing your surroundings and think about maybe the wind that is blowing, or in the forest, maybe the sound of the trees moving a little bit. Again, if you're if you're picturing yourself at the beach, maybe listen to the sound of the waves, or the birds chirping, or whatever it is, wherever you are. But so in the forest, listen to like that little creak the trees make, the little rustling of the leaves as the branches rustle together, maybe a little chirping of the birds, the sound of the wind coming in, actually feel the wind, and then go even a step beyond that if you can, and bring in the smell of where you are visualizing yourself, again, wherever it is. So in the forest, it would be of moss and earth, and a very earthy smell that you have. Said I wasn't going to get on side notes, but that is one of the things I love about in the summertime. My husband and I go on the motorcycle all the time, and I always want to go on back roads. And there's this one road that we go on that there's like hardly any houses out there. I mean, there are houses out there, but not that many. and it's just miles and miles of woods and creeks and moss and trees, and the smell when you ride through there just is like perfect. So that's kind of what I think of when I'm doing that visualization. I'm actually like thinking of that smell in the woods. Um, and so again, now that you are stretched out your feet and you've got your visualization and you've incorporated as much as you can, and some of you are not going to get it right away. It might take some practice. It might take, doing it a few times to actually be able to really pull in that whole experience for you, but that's okay. I'm not good at meditating. We're not all good at stuff. So yeah, now that you've stretched out your feet, you've brought your attention to your feet, you've done all of your visualization work, bringing in your surroundings. Now it's going to take you back to your feet, but try to hold on to that. So sorry. Try to hold on to that visualization and try to keep that with you, and bring your attention back to your feet. Now, again, try to kind of visualize your feet right in that wherever you are. Like I said, if I'm in the forest, I'm picturing like it's kind of a dark soil, maybe some pine needles on the ground, maybe even like a damp kind of mossy section. And so you're going to kind of picture your feet like right in that visualization, and almost bring in the feel of it, like that you're actually standing there. So now that you've done all that, again, just try to hold it all as you're going through. And once you guys have done this a couple of times, it'll just kind of come naturally to you. You won't have to work so hard to hold the visualization and remember what you're supposed to be doing. For me now, it comes really easy. And again, it only, each one of these steps is only taking you 30 or 40 seconds. Unless you want it to take longer, you certainly can. You can certainly, stretch out a visualization as long as you want it to. But most people are like, I don't have time. And so this is a quick visualization that really the whole thing can take you only 2 or 3 minutes if you really, want to. You could probably even speed it up faster than that if you, when you get really good at it and pulling in the visualizations and holding it. Again, I tend to visualize the same thing, so it's easy for me to pull that visualization in and work with that. I don't tend to pick up, different locations and things. I'm always in the forest. I'm always in the same path with, like I said, the kind of the dark soil and the pine needles and things like that. So it's pretty easy for me to pull that visualization in. But my advice is don't rush it too much. You want this to be, just don't want it to be like a quick 30-second thing. And, you do need to put in a little bit of time and a little bit of work into it. So now that you've got all that part done, this is the part where you can kind of change it up depending on what it is you're exactly trying to do in this visualization. So for today's purpose, if you are trying to connect with your Earth Star Chakra, you're going to visualize, now that you've got your feet firmly planted wherever you are in your visualization, you're going to picture going down into the earth and through the dirt or sand or wherever you are, and find that ball of light that is, like I said, it's about 12 inches down, so you don't have to go really far to find it, and again, this is all visualization. Find that ball, that Earth Star Chakra. Now, there's a couple of different things you can do once you've got that visualization. One of the things I like to do is I like to just think of it as expanding and making it a little bit bigger. And that to me is like opening. I'm opening it up. I'm connecting with it. I'm putting my full attention to that chakra. So that is how I visualize opening that star chakra. The other thing you can do is some people also like to envision sending that ball of light just down into the earth, down to Gaia, Mother Earth, and opening it that way, which you can also do. Like I said, there's really no wrong or right way to do this. You're just going to kind of make it your own. Again, like I said, I'm always in the forest. You don't have to be in the forest. You can be in the desert. You can be in the jungle. You can be on the beach. So, you're going to expand that light, or you're going to send that light down to Gaia. Either one is fine. You could do both if you wanted. You could expand your light and then send it down to Gaia. You could send the ball down to Gaia and then picturing it coming back as bigger. Like I said, there's really no wrong or right way to do it. It's just really whatever resonates with you. The point of it is to, in some way, focus and pay attention to that chakra. Okay. So with that, then once you have done that, you can kind of come back out of the visualization. But before we get to that part real quick, I do want to just talk about some of the other things. In this same visualization, you can either change it up a little bit, or you could find a way to incorporate it all in one visualization. The one I had done back earlier was I was thinking about re-energizing and releasing. And so what I did was, in that visualization, I did it all the same, except for the part where I was not focusing on my Earth Star Chakra. What I was focusing on was I was pulling up through the bottom of my feet energy, which is in a way working with your Earth Star Chakra, but it wasn't my main focus. I was visualizing pulling energy up through the bottom of my feet, through the earth from Gaia. That she was, sending me all this white. I kind of think of it as not really lightning, but kind of visualize it that way for me, like this white, staticky energy kind of that comes up through the bottom of my feet. And as it's kind of coming up and filling me up, I visualize all the things I want to get rid of, all the any sadness or anger or frustration, jealousy, any of that. It's kind of pushing it up, and I kind of visualize it, it's kind of gross, but I kind of visualize it as this black, thick, goopy tar kind of stuff. But as the white light energy is coming up and filling me up, it's pushing it up, and it pushes it down my arms, and it kind of comes out my fingertips and drops back down to the earth, which then Gaia, Pachumama, is going to take that negative energy, and she's going to recycle it and send it back to me eventually on another day at another time, again as that white energy. So that's a really good way to do a visualization as well. So that's going to help you with your releasing, but it's also going to help you with your energizing. So you're going to be pulling in all that good energy from Gaia, and at the same time releasing anything that you don't really want to keep around anymore. So it is a way of working with your Earth Star Chakra. It's just not the main focus. So if you really want to focus on the Earth Star Chakra, you can do the ball of light. Again, there's no right or wrong way. If you want to somehow incorporate all of that into one visualization, you certainly can. For me, I like to go into a visualization with a little bit more of an intent. So I'm either working with my Earth Star Chakra, or I'm releasing and energizing. So I try not to make it too much, because then I think it's just getting For me, it's just kind of getting too much and too complicated, and there's just too much going on. I like to keep it a little bit more simple than that. And then, so once you've done your ball of light, whatever you're going to do with it, expand it, send it down to Gaia, send it down to Gaia and have it come back bigger, whatever it is you're going to do in that visualization, just kind of keep that, again, 30, 40 seconds. You don't have to be there forever. Just hold on to that for like 30 or 40 seconds. And then kind of bring your attention back to your feet. So you're just going to go back out the same way you came. Bring your attention back to your feet. Then you're going to bring your attention back to your surroundings of your visualization. So whether it's the forest, the beach. So you're going to kind of take your time to come back to the forest, come back to the smells, come back to the wind, to the birds, and then you're going to, from there, go back to your feet again, move your feet around, and actually move your feet. When you're moving your feet, it's the visualization of your feet in the dirt, or the visualization of your feet in the soil, or whatever. When we first start and when we end, you're going to actually be moving your feet, and that's going to kind of bring you back to now in real world. And so then you're going to just take a few minutes and stretch your feet, and again, same as you started, kind of just relax. I usually kind of like just kind of move around a little bit and come back out of the visualization. So, I talked that through, and, it wasn't that long. So, and like I said, when you're doing it yourself, it's going to go a little faster, because you're not going to, obviously I was explaining things and talking about things and stuff. And so the visualization, I think, 5-10 minutes is a good time. But, there's been days at work where I'm just having a really bad day. Oh, the dog is up. Really bad day. And I just closed my eyes, and I made it really quick and short. I cut out all of the forest and the smells and all that, and went directly to pulling energy in through my feet and releasing, pulling energy in through my feet and releasing negative energy through my hands. And, just 30, 40 seconds of that at work. I didn't move. I just was sitting at my desk. I just made sure my feet were both flat on the floor. I had, I'm in the building, so I'm not touching the earth. I had probably socks and shoes on or whatever that day. I don't know. But it was a really quick visualization and it was more releasing than it was energizing. But the way I do it, I envision that energy coming in and filling me up with white, good, positive energy, and pushing all the black, yucky, sticky energy out. So again, really, I know I say it over and over again, but I just really want people to understand there's really no right or wrong way. People will comment or message me after and go, well, I did this, is that okay? And it's like, yeah, it's perfectly fine. If it feels right to you and it resonates with you, then that's perfectly fine. Go with it. All right. So that is your little visualization if you want to work with your Earth Star Chakra, now that you know what it is and where it is. But then you're going to want to know why. Why do I want to work with my Earth Star Chakra? So once you work on your Earth Star Chakra and you actually have that opening up and that expanding, what that's going to do is it's going to bring in a little bit more compassion, softness, tenderness, a little bit more grace to you, but it's definitely going to give you that connection to Mother Earth. And so the easiest thing I can think of to say is, when you think of a mother, and I know there are people out there that didn't have great moms, so I'm not necessarily saying your mom, but when you think of mother as overall, you think of mother as she's protective, she's loving, she's supportive, she's going to make sure you have everything you need. So that's opening that Earth Star Chakra is opening up, what's the word I want to use? It's not going to be that someone's going to be taking care of you. It's going to open up kind of that mothering in you for others. So, or for yourself. So maybe you're going to be softer on yourself. Maybe you're going to have more compassion for yourself. Maybe you're going to be a little bit more graceful with yourself. I don't mean like not fall down graceful. I just mean, you know, emotionally graceful. So that's working with your Earth Star Chakra is going to bring that in for you. So it's actually one of the things I do like to work with, because I have a tendency, not on purpose, but I have a tendency when people are talking to me, my brain doesn't stop, and sometimes I go another place when people are talking, and I don't like that about myself, and I think it's very rude to do that when someone's talking. I would definitely not like it if it was the other way around and I was talking and somebody was thinking about they got to stop and get milk after work and things like that sort. So it kind of is going to open up that little bit more. It's not going to help with my brain all squirrely, but I'm hoping by working with my Earth Star Chakra, that bringing in that mothering and compassion and softness and tenderness, that it's going to give me that ability to stay with that person when they're talking. And I'm not saying I do that all the time, but sometimes I don't want to be mean, but sometimes you just get that person that just keeps talking and talking and talking, and you're like, okay, I got it. And you just kind of zone out after that. But I don't like that. I wouldn't like that if somebody was doing it to me, so I don't want to do it to somebody else. But all right, so we've talked about what the Earth Star Chakra is. We talked about where it is. We talked about how to work with it. We talked about what it's going to do when you work with it. And we talked about the visualization. So we've got a few more minutes left, and I had some other things that I kind of wanted to go over with you that are also Earth Star Chakra related. Sorry, I'm suddenly cold here. So some of the things I wanted to go over is some of the other things that you could do if you wanted to continue to work with your Earth Star Chakra. We talked about the other day about building an altar. My altar is to Gaia, which is Mother Earth, and so that is one way that I work with my Earth Star Chakra. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on today. But some of the things that you could do was you can build an altar. Some of the other things you can do is, I'm going to go over some of the things you could use to put on an altar, but there are also things you could just use separately as well if you wanted to. Like if you don't want to build an altar, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to. Or you could just take these couple of things and make a very small altar. You can make a huge altar. Again, no right or wrong way. But if you want to, here are some suggestions. So if you wanted to work with a god or goddess, it would be a goddess in this case because it's Mother Earth. Some of the suggestions that I have would be Inanna. She is a goddess. She is, and I probably, I'm not going to say this totally correct, so I'm going off memory on this, but Inanna, if I'm saying it right, Inanna, Inanna, probably not, is through history according to written record that we have, as far as I know, the very first goddess that was ever established, created. I don't know what kind of... she was the mother goddess. She was the goddess of sex, love, beauty, war, wealth, wisdom, again, all the things that a mom can bring. But the other goddesses that you could work with are, a lot of people work with Pachumama. The other one is Gaia. Morning, Tara. How are you? We're talking about our Earth Star Chakras today. So we talked about what it is, where it is, how to work with it, and what you can expect, when you do work with it. So we've covered quite a bit this morning already, but now we're going to go over some things if you wanted some tools to work with your Earth Star Chakra. That's where we are. So we are just getting into talking about the goddesses, and like I said, you can work with Inanna, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. So Pachumama, Gaia is the typical one that I work with. The other one that I'm learning about now is Danu. She is the Celtic version of Gaia, same as Pachumama is like the Aztec version of Gaia. So they're all the same, they're just different names. But one of the things, the Gaia statues, I have several of these around my house. So I like this one because it's double-sided. So there's the little tree on the front, or you can spin it around and have the spiral. So you can put it either way, whichever way you like. So I have several of these all over my house. You'll see quite a few of them if you ever come to my house. So that is one way I work with that. So you can have little statues. And if you don't have a statue, that's fine. Get a printout. There's always, like, this is kind of one I like to keep around. I don't really know who she is, but I think she's beautiful, and she represents a lot, and she brings that earth feeling to me. She's got the stick for her staff there, kind of. She's got the skull on her headband. So she's just very kind of Mother Earth power to me. So I always keep that around. So if you don't have a statue, again, like I said, there's really no right or wrong way. Do whatever you can to bring that energy in. Draw it if all else fails, or like I said, just print out something on the computer, whatever. It doesn't have to be super fancy. Make it your screensaver. I don't know. Like I said, there's really no right or wrong way. Some of the gemstones that you can work with, and I apologize because I don't have hardly any of mine here because I'm trying to work on categorizing them all, so I don't have any to show you. But some of the good ones, if you wanted to work with some gemstones to connect with your Earth Star Chakra, would be black kyanite, brookite. Brookite is a stone that I have been trying to locate for over a year, and I haven't found one yet. So if anybody's got a brookite, I'd be interested to know if you got it, where you got it from. Petrified wood is a really good one. To me, that really brings in that earth element of the petrified wood. You could work with some red jasper. You could work with some tektite. You could work with some Tibetan quartz. Any of those would be good to work with your Earth Star Chakra. Right now, I have the black kyanite and I have the petrified wood, which are, you can't see, but there's a big mess on my counter over there. I'm trying to slowly gather all my crystals and gemstones and categorize them in some sort of way, but yeah, it's going to take a little while to get that all done. Alright, so gemstones, black kyanite, brookite, petrified wood, red jasper, tektite, and Tibetan quartz are all some really good ones that you can work with And if you don't have any of those at all, and you just have a piece of quartz, you can just work with a piece of quartz. It doesn't necessarily have to be Tibetan quartz. I have this piece of quartz. I have this piece of quartz. Throw it around. This is one of my favorite ones. I have this piece of quartz. I have this. So quartz is, and quartz can be used for just about anything. You can almost program it, so to speak, to take on the energy of whatever the stone it is you want to work with. Because quartz is an amplifier. So if you set the attention and then work with that quartz, it's going to amplify that attention. All right. So moving on to oils or herbs. You can work with them in any way, shape, or form that works for you. Black or pink peppercorn is a good one to work with. Tobacco. I have a whole jar. It's in a skull, yes. I have a whole jar of Mapacho tobacco. So you can work with that. You can work with frankincense, which I have some here somewhere, but I'm not going to pull it all out. Galangal root, and I don't know if I said that correctly either. Myrrh, and red clover and white sage. So you probably, most of you have your white sage bundles already, so you've got that part covered. The myrrh and the frankincense, believe it or not, I have those wool dryer balls, and I keep my myrrh and frankincense essential oils in the bathroom, and I put them on the dryer balls, and so I incorporate that scent right into my clothes as they're drying. So you can do that. You could use peppercorn oil or tobacco oil on your clothes in your dryer ball, but that wouldn't be my choice. I love to burn my Mapacho tobacco on my little charcoal disc, but I don't know if I really want that smell on my clothes all day. So I do the frankincense and the myrrh. I got a big bottle of both of those oils. And to tell you the truth, I went a little, I didn't go like high grade essential oils for that purpose. If I'm making a blend or a perfume, I have a small bottle that is, a much better blend, a much better grade of oil. But these were just really cheap ones that, you can buy pretty much, Walmart, you can buy cheap essential oils now. But I do incorporate that into my dryer balls to bring that smell in. So there's lots of things you can do besides just, burn the incense or, make a perfume. Like I said, whatever works for you. Put the essential oils or the herbs in your bathtub. We've talked about taking baths and how important that is. Unfortunately, I don't have a bathtub that I can do that in, so that is not something I get to partake in, which I'm very sad about. But all right, so black and pink peppercorn, ceremonial tobacco, frankincense, galangal root, myrrh, red clove, and white sage. I do not have the galangal root, and I do not have red clove, but I've got everything else. So, again, you don't need, it's not like, I don't have all of those, it's not going to work. You can work with one of them, or you can work with all of them. You can work with two of them. It doesn't matter, as long as the intention is there and you're working with them. Runes. I am slowly learning about runes, and so if you wanted to work with a rune, let's see if I can find the one I need here. I should have done this beforehand. Probably not going to be able to find it. It's right there. So this is the rune you would want to work with as you work with your Earth Star Chakra. And again, I'm just learning runes, so I don't know a whole lot about them. But this rune is called Othala. It's Othala, Othala. And the word Othala means homeland. And so what that's going to bring in is that security. Now, I read all about this last night, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember it correctly, but runes were created by Odin. And so the rune of Othala was, sorry, did I leave the book over there? No, I have it right here. Let me see if I can check this real quick, because I don't want to give incorrect information. Alright, so let me see here. Let's see here. Alright, so Othala is also called the blood rune, and it is for connecting to the chamber of the ancestral roots. So again, it's a little bit of a different version of what I said before, but it's a way to connect with the ancestral, the bone people. So that's how that rune ties in with working with your Earth Star Chakra if you want to work with a rune. So you can do that. If you wanted to work with a planet, which, you know, I don't really have a good advice on how to work with a planet. Obviously, you just can't go to the planet. But if you wanted to work with a planet, it would be Pluto. And again, I should have just left that open so I could tell you exactly how Pluto connects. So Pluto is, working with Pluto energy is rebirth, renewal, and change. But in this situation, Pluto, and there's a long, complicated story that, well, it's not complicated, but there's a long story that goes with Pluto on how it connects. But Pluto is the planet of Hades, which Hades is the god of the underworld, and the underworld is the same connection again to that ancestral, the bone people energy. So again, all these things are, they're not exactly the same. The stories are a little bit different. The legends, whatever you want to call it, is a little bit different, but they all tie into that same ancestral ground, under the surface soil kind of energy, if that makes sense. Alright, and the last thing, and I was going to pull the card out for you and I didn't, so let me see if I have time to do that real quick. If you wanted to work with a tarot card, you would be working with the Hierophant. Let me see if I can find it real quick, because I have my glasses on so I can't read. Death, Temperance, World, Hermit, Hierophant, right here. My deck is very different looking than a lot of tarot decks, which is one of the things I like about it. So this is, I'm trying to get it where you can see it good. I guess back here. It's not a very good one, but so this is the Hierophant of my deck. It's not the typical one. I did find a meme image thing last night that I'll go ahead and post in there, and it's going to be the more typical image of what you would see on a tarot deck, but you could work with that. So I'm actually going to leave these two things out now, and I'm going to leave them here on my space. And so, good reminder, visualizations. So the Hierophant, again, let me just go back real quick so I make sure that I'm telling you correctly, and then we'll be finishing up. Where is it? Right here, the Hierophant. Alright, so if you want more information, I am getting it from this book. This is the book that I've been working off for all the Earth Star Chakra. There's a whole chapter in here that is for each chakra. So I'm giving you basically the Cliff Notes version of this book. So if you really want more information, this is the book that I've been getting this information from. So what I was going to tell you real quick is, like, you obviously can't read this, but this whole section right here talks about how the Hierophant connects to the Earth Star Chakra. Obviously, I can't give you all that information in this video. It would just take too long. So I'm just giving you the Cliff Notes. But if there's really something you want to know more of, certainly go ahead and get it, because like this tells you about the crystals, but it goes into why you would want to work with each of these crystals. And then same with the oils and the herbs. It goes over in all kinds of good information about why you would want to work with those oils, which again, I can't do all of that because it would just take way too long. We'd be here for a whole day if I basically read you the book. So the Hierophant, let me see here, I should have, I didn't want to highlight my book, I didn't want to mark it up, but so the Hierophant illuminates your view of the ancestors. So he is the guardian of the gateway to the bones, into your lineage. So again, it's that underworld, bone people underneath the soil aspect that is bringing that in, as why you would want to work with that card for working with your Earth Star Chakra. So, I want you to watch my videos, obviously, but if you really do want more information, this is the book that I'm getting it from. And so the very last thing I have is, if you wanted to work with a mala, this is my mala. I found these, they're actually seeds and they're not beads, because again, it doesn't have to be exactly the way it's supposed to be. A mala is typically beads. Typically there is a knot tied, so there's a bead, there's a knot tied, there's a bead, there's a knot tied. So my mala is not a typical mala, but I just found these seeds at a thrift store and counted out 108. And then I found this little tassel thingy, I don't know where, some store, and then I just tied a little piece of the blue sari ribbon, because the beads are kind of like a bluish color. Seeds, not beads. There's 108. The 108 is because if you counted all of the chakras that are in your body, there are 108. But typically people just focus on the 7th, but there are actually 108. And so that is why there are 108 beads. The theory on it is, if you work with a mantra, which I have an album in there in our group that has a couple of different mantras that you can work with. Again, I got a meme for the one I'm going to give you today that I will go in and post for you. But if you say it, you say the mantra, and then you go to the next beat and say it again, and go to the next beat and say it again. And the theory is that you're filling up all 108 of your chakras with the mantra. So you're basically filling your whole body with the mantra. All right, so you could do that, and this can also be used as a meditation if you want to. If you're not really good at just quieting your mind and meditating, which I am not, this is a good way to do it. And even that, sometimes I have a hard time. Sometimes I find myself still thinking about, oh, I gotta get milk. And if you don't have a mala, you can certainly go buy one, or again, you can make one. It's just 108. If you want to make it, there's probably a million videos on YouTube on how to make a mala. But it's 108 beads with some sort of little tassel thingy, basically so you know where where you start and then where you end. Because otherwise you could just keep going around the beads and around the beads and around the beads and around the beads, and you'd never know where you started. So the little tassel is your to let you know where you started and where to stop. But the mantra that for the Earth Star Chakra for today that I picked, I was Om Mani Padme Hum. Yeah, I'm probably not totally saying that correct. Om Mani, so O-M for Om, Mani, M-A-N-I, Padme, P-A-D-M-E, Hum, H-U-M. And again, I'm going to post that up in the group for you. And what that translates to is, I offer praise to the jewel within the lotus. That's a little bit more on the Buddhist side, but again, it's the praise of the jewel within the lotus is like, I don't know how to describe it basically, but it you're talking about feeling like Mother Earth, kind of. I don't know exactly how, but it does, like, you can kind of figure it out. I don't know how to put it into words the best way here, but it's feeling the jewel within the lotus is like filling up the earth within yourself, filling up, you know what I mean. I'm not saying it very well, but you know what I mean. I'm sure you do. So yeah, that's what I have for today. You guys can certainly let me know if that was something that was interesting to you or not. So next month we'll be working on another chakra. We're not done working with the Earth Star Chakra. My plan is for next Thursday, which I will create an event for you to find the information. But we're going to be working on making a despacho. And what that is, and why you would make it, and what you do with it once you make it, and all of that. And just because for the purpose of right now, if you're going to ask why are we doing that, it's something that you make that's an offering to Mother Earth. So that's how it's going to tie into our Earth Star Chakra. So we're going to work on that. I've made a couple of them before, but I will put up a list of things that you might want to have to do this. You can certainly just watch the video and then get your stuff later, or you can get your stuff first and make it while watching the video. Whatever works best for you is perfectly a-okay. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I have to go to my muggle job so I can get muggle money and pay muggle bills. But I hope everybody has an amazing weekend. I am really going to set my goal for having a weekend of not necessarily being lazy, but taking some time to rest. I would like to just stay home and get some stuff done around the house and take it easy and, maybe just pamper myself a little bit. Sleep in, have coffee in my jammies, that kind of stuff. So I hope everybody has an amazing weekend. I hope everybody has a great day as well. Remember to be kind. Your kindness could change your day, could change someone else's day, or potentially could change someone's life, including your own. And it's free. And it's kind of contagious. So your kindness, somebody else, the person that you're kind to, may turn around and be kind to someone else as well. So, and then they'll be kind to someone else, and then they'll be kind to someone else, and then we'll all be a little bit kinder. So have a great day. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all on Monday for week 3 forecast. Love you. Bye.